Creating this video has taken me 4 attempts so far at the voiceover, and so many re-recording of so many shots of re-recording the videos I have of my sketch pages and taking more photos of them so they're clearer, and I really need to just stop obsessing over getting this perfect and just get it done. So enjoy this take with all of the imperfections in it. So while preparing to launch this channel, I put a lot of thought into just how hard I wanted to go into the whole bee theme thing. It was like, should I just go a little bit, or, I have a bee profile picture. It's a gift from one of my friends when she found out I was starting this channel, and I really love it. Like, genuinely really do. But did I want to go full steam ahead? I'd already gotten, like I said, I've already gotten the profile picture, and I'd already made honeycomb channel art and end card art, and these are both very bee things. Specifically honeybee things. There are a lot of other bees, don't get me wrong, and they all do wonderful bee things and be wonderful pollinators. But I felt pretty early on that going with a name like Little Miss Bumblebee or Little Miss Solitary Bee, while more accurate towards my personality and skills, didn't have the same ring as Little Miss Honeybee. So if you were wondering why I chose that, that's why. Anyway, I'd gone this far into the bee theme, so I figured maybe I should just commit fully to the image, go with some sort of hexacomb or honey-themed font, and that felt like it might be appropriate. I bumbled through some fonts online to see if I could download any of them and not need to make any of my own, although I'd already been considering the idea. I'd been sketching ideas for a while. But most of the fonts I found online, they either cost money and a lot of it, or they didn't really strike my fancy. They didn't really make my imagination buzz, make it feel like, yes, this clicks, this is what I want to do. For a little while, I put aside the whole honeycomb themed font and started sketching some other ideas. You can see some of them here. Some of them are ones that are fonts that I sketched when I was I remember making some of these fonts when I was 9 or 10. I don't have the original versions anymore, they got thrown out a long time ago, but I've recreated some of them to the best of my ability, which is really cool, but also none of them really struck me as fitting the channel either. They weren't really that big of... They didn't make my imagination buzz. So I decided I would go ahead and make my own hexacomb font. After all, how hard could it possibly be? Very, very, very difficult. I did a fair amount of research starting out, and I didn't record a lot of it because most of it was reading forums for recommendations for this sort of thing and looking at program options, and this is part of the problem. Not because any of those things are bad, but because the programs I found both required me to have access to expensive programs that I don't have access to, and extensive experience in vector programs. Now, I don't have any disposable funds for this sort of video or for this sort of experiment, so getting a subscription to either the vector programs or the expensive turn vectors into fonts programs were just, it wasn't really something I could do. Not without foregoing a few basic necessities like food and rent, and that wasn't something I was willing to do. So in the meantime, I figured I would just work at the font and see what ideas I could come up with, because if I couldn't come up with anything that I was happy with, then there wasn't really any point in continuing to worry about how to get access to one of these programs. So I traced a rough hexagon onto some sketchbook pages, and very rough. I used my phone as a light board underneath it, and did that and sketched hexagons in ink. And then I started sketching out ideas in pencil so I could erase them. My sketches might be a little incomprehensible if you're not used to reading something like this, but that's okay. The sketches were primarily for me. I'm just showing them to you so you can get a feel for the process. A lot of them overlap because I didn't account for the additional space that taller letters and letters with tails take up, but it does the job. It was at this point, it was actually about halfway through this that I turned back into researching for things that could make this into a font, because I was really frustrated with the K. The K is just, it's a difficult letter to make look stylized when your goal shape is a hexagon. And I feel like I got something that was okay, but like, I really struggled with that K. The K took me like an hour by itself. And so I turned back into researching online. I found a few potential options for free vector programs, and that was it. There was nothing in regards to turning the vectorized letters into an actual font. And also the free programs would take me a significant amount of time to learn. And I was doing this the week before the channel launched, and I needed to get the font done because I wanted to put it in that first video that it was in. So that wasn't a great option. I needed something free and easy and that made it quick. This time, I managed to find Calligrapher. This video wasn't sponsored by them at all, but I did end up using that site. It checked all of my boxes. It was simple, it was beginner friendly, it was free. Even the paid version is still really cheap for a monthly subscription, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, I used the free version because I'm only making one font. But, for your information, I followed the tutorials, I downloaded their templates, and I set about creating my own font, which is the speed paint style thing going on in the background. With my sketch notes and a generic hexagon I stole from the internet, I made the font, and you can see how I'm doing that with each letter. So I'm not going to bother going into too much detail for each letter. But yeah, it took a while. This footage is sped up. So there is that. But yeah, I got the entire alphabet done, upper and lowercase letters, all 10 digits? Numbers. I'm not sure which one it's called in a font. And a limited amount of punctuation. When all was said and done, I'm actually really pleased with the way it turned out. And I mean, I really like the way it looks. I did have to adjust the height of the lowercase I off screen after I showed it to a few of my friends for feedback. But all things considered, that was a relatively minor change. And so here it is, the entire font. I won't be uploading the TTF files anywhere, but if you like it, you're free to use it as a reference to create your own font. I'll personally be using it on thumbnails and for captions and dates and stuff inside videos. I already used it for the dates in that very first video I posted on this channel, like I mentioned, so if you want to go see it in action, you can head over there and check it out. It was a really fun experience, although really challenging and at some points frustrating, to the point where I've actually been considering making another font at some point. Not yet, definitely not for a little while. I don't feel the urge that strongly right now, but I'm entertaining the possibility at some future point that I don't know when it's gonna come, or if. But thank you for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, well, I can't promise I'll ever make another video about font creation, but I certainly have more creative things up my sleeve. You can visit the About page on my channel to get a feel for the kinds of videos I'll be posting and decide there whether or not you want to subscribe. And give this video a like, it tells YouTube to show it to more people. I'll buzz off now. Have a great day!